Hello, like and subscribe, please, and let's get into the story. So, I used to be on a few different psychiatric medications at different points or whatever back in the day. So, one of them I happened to be on was Lamictal. Lamictal is an anticonvulsant, and that can be used for different purposes. Um, so, the different purposes it can be used for is a mood stabilizer. So it could be a mood stabilizer for people who have anger management or whatever, or any sort of mood disorder like bipolar. Um, or it could be used for a mood stabilizer for people that have autism that can be quite irritable or whatever. But also can be used for epilepsy or people to help prevent people having seizures. Or it can be used for, or actually, of my knowledge, that's what I remember what it could be used for, those kinds of things, right? So I had it because of irritability of autism. I am quite high functioning. I'm high functioning at this point to a point where that you can't really even notice I have autism at all. So, anyways, um, I found out from my friend who has bipolar, so he takes that medication, Lamictal. Um, and also, I have another friend. He has epilepsy, and he is also on Lamictal. So I found out from my friend though that takes Lamictal that has bipolar. He has bipolar type 1, but he is on the border of type 1 and type 2. He could be technically considered type 2. But anyways, um, I found out from him that people actually hallucinate with weed if they're on Lamictal. That's why he does not like using weed at all. And so that makes a lot of sense because I was on that medication up until like right before my senior year of college. And the first time I tried weed was my freshman year of college, and I rarely ever did weed because of the reason I would have hallucinations. Um, the hallucinations I would have is nothing like of a stereotypical hallucination. Like you're all probably thinking like, oh, he saw stuff that wasn't there, blah, blah. No, it wasn't that. But what it was is I would the room would get really small and no, like I've heard people say like, oh, you're just probably anxious, you probably just need to get used to it, blah blah this that. No, it's not that at all. Like I don't get anxious ever, and I don't get anxious on weed at all. What happened is the room got real. Like if I'm in a room or a closed enclosed space, it would get really small. Everything would get really close to me, and also uh, I would hear things from really far away, and then also things that would seem far away but aren't actually there. Um, so it would like be a combination of both, like real stuff and not real stuff. So basically, auditory hallucinations a little bit. It wasn't anything that was too crazy or very clear or whatever, but it's all not a comfortable high. People would be like, "Oh, if you're tripping off of it, that's awesome." Blah blah. I would love doing. It. No, it's like a bad trip, you know. So yeah, the reason why doctors and stuff don't say, or it doesn't say anywhere, oh, Lamictal causes hallucinations with weed is because of two reasons. One, weed is not legal federally in the US. Um, Two, because why would a drug want to provide every single bad thing about the drug because they're just going to get less sales and stuff like that, you know? If they're not absolutely required to legally put that out there, then they're not gonna. So, yeah. And mind you, this friend found this out actually from his doctor. Uh, And it makes sense looking back at it and looking at me and mine and his experiences with weed on Lamictal, and also other friends' experiences and people that I've encountered that have Lamictal and tried weed. And also another thing too is ever since I've not been on Lamictal, I don't really have hallucinations anymore with weed. But I don't really enjoy the weed effects anyways. So, um, anyways, that's that interesting story. I thought it was quite interesting, and looking back at it, it makes a lot of sense. So, thank you for listening. If you're on Lamictal, I wouldn't recommend smoking weed or using weed or whatever. All right. Thank you. Like and subscribe. Check out my other content. Bye bye.